Hey guys, welcome back to Beyond the Feet. My name's Josh. In today's video we're going to be checking out the Hoka One One Carbon X2. Thank you very much for Hoka Australia for sending this guy out. We really appreciate it. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Welcome back. So the Carbon X2 by Hoka One One. It's a very comfortable shoe to run in. I did enjoy putting this on the foot and going for a run. Even though I'm not that fit at the moment, the shoe did really make me feel a lot faster than what I am for sure. For someone who normally does 5-minute Ks at my best, I was able to push up to that 4:30 pace quite easily in these guys until I felt like I was dying, and then obviously I had to slow down. But pretty much in this shoe, it's a very lightweight shoe coming in at 240 grams, and it's that kind of daily trainer meets race day shoe. We do have a carbon plate running all the way through this guy, so it is nice and stable. The shoe itself is not too flexible, and it does feel like you're running on a platform overall. So in terms of when you heel strike in the shoe, midfoot strike or forefoot strike, you got a ton of cushioning running all the way through the shoe. So in comparison to other fast shoes, this shoe does feel very soft under the foot. With that ProFly cushioning system they got going through, it is very soft, and there's no real kind of rubber under the bottom. You got a rubberized EVA, so in that sense it does have a little bit in it, but it's just kind of a firmer density of EVA cushioning underneath. So you got cushion on cushion, and then with your carbon plate in there as well, it makes it a very soft shoe but very responsive at the same time. The Carbon X2, in comparison to last season's model, I think they have improved it a lot. Overall, I found last season's model, the upper just didn't quite fit the foot properly, and in areas that it did fit the foot, then it kind of took away from the shoe in other points of it. Pretty much with the Carbon X2, they have added a heel counter in it and just a nice padded collar around the shoe in general, so it does lock in the rear foot really nicely. Another great thing they've done is added in a gusseted tongue. Now I found it's not a full gusset, it's just kind of that little extra band wrapping around your midfoot area. That's just enough to make sure the tongue doesn't slide either way, but just kind of feels like your midfoot's getting that nice hug. I find a lot of race day shoes in particular don't have that nice finish on the upper. It's not the most comfortable thing to put on, and I think that's why the Carbon X2 is leaps and bounds ahead of a lot of other carbon plated shoes on the market right now, because the Carbon X2 is just a lot more comfortable on your upper overall. It's still nice and lightweight. It's an engineered mesh, so it's nice and stretchy. It will mold to the foot, and overall the fit is really nicely dialed in. I do think it fits half a size long, In this, I did take a 9, and I feel like I could possibly even go to an 8.5. However, if I did do that, I think it'd jam up my small toe a little bit. So although it's a standard width, it is a little bit tapered around the front of the foot there, so just be mindful of that. I'd probably still just take the normal size that you do in say a Hoka Clifton, for example, and I think you'd be alright. You will have a little bit of toe room, but I do think that's necessary in order to get that nice comfortable shoe, especially if you're going to be doing the longer runs in it. Moving back to how the shoe feels overall, when you do strike in that heel zone of the shoe, you do get that nice propulsion forward. If you are going to land in that forefoot area, there's still plenty of cushioning there for you to sink into the shoe and it be nice and responsive at the same time. But I find you get that kind of speed rock forward in the shoe if you do heel strike in it, and it kind of rotates you onto your next step a little more efficiently. Who's going to pick up this shoe overall? I think for that person who just wants that one shoe that they can train for a marathon in and then also race a marathon in, I think this would be ideal for yourself. If you're just picking up the one shoe for race day, it's not as light as other carbon plated shoes on the market, but it is a much more comfortable ride. So I don't think you're going to get like your fastest PB in this guy in comparison to like an Alpha Fly. However, it's going to be a much more cushion ride on the foot, and risk of injury, I think it's going to be a lot less. So if you're not feeling 100%, or you're just someone who's getting into running and want that one shoe for both leading up to a marathon or a half marathon, and you want to do say 400 Ks in it beforehand and still have a nice race day shoe, I think this is going to hold up to it. Whereas a lot of other carbon plated shoes, you're going to have to buy a second daily trainer to be able to couple with it in order to get you through 2 race days. So I think that's where the Carbon X2 is very versatile in comparison to other shoes. With your carbon plate, it's not too noticeable, it's just nice and snappy, but with that amount of cushioning there, yeah, you just sink into the shoe nicely, but just get a lot more back than you'd expect out of such a cushion feel under the foot, pretty much. So that's probably the best way to wrap it up. Overall, the shoe fits really nicely. The lacing is quite stretchy on the shoe, so it's not too intrusive at all, and it's a very thin tongue. So with the thin tongue and that gusseted tongue that they got going on, it's not going to move anywhere, cause any irritation. Like I put this on, it's probably about 20 Ks into it now, and I feel like it's still as responsive as the first time I put it on the foot. So I think people will be pushing about 600 Ks in this shoe overall. You don't see much wear going on underneath. If anywhere will wear first, it will be the outsole. I think the cushioning and the carbon plate will hold up really nicely, and it'll be interesting to see how well this shoe lasts. But in comparison to last season's model, which is a much better upper, and in terms of underneath the foot, it competes with it very nicely. The one thing they did change with the midsole is they moved this flare back a little bit. Now that makes for that little bit more of a stable transition if you do heel strike, so you're not going to kind of get too flexible in that heel zone there, and it just enables you to get your foot under your body a little bit more and onto the next step, even if you do happen to stride out a little bit more. So yeah, great touches by Hoka. I think overall they've nailed the head on this one. And yeah, if you want that one shoe to pick up, whether you're training for a marathon or you just want to smash everyone in parkrun doing the 5Ks, for sure, pick it up. It's nice and stable, designed for a neutral foot. And that'll about do it. Hit the subscribe button, smash that like, and we'll see you in another video.